Okay, let's get this one done. But before I do this one, I want to talk about something I heard. I was watching, I don't even know who Ninja is. Everybody's like, what? You don't know who Ninja is? I have no idea. Apparently, he has a ton of subscribers, and Jake Paul used an image of him in a video as a thumbnail, and he wasn't even mentioned in the video, and there was no credit to Ninja for the photo or anything. So Ninja was kind of upset about it, and then they were talking about how Jake Paul started doing Twitch, and that's all YouTubers now are doing Twitch. That's why people keep telling me to do it, and I've said no. Part of it is I'm not a good gamer, I'm terrible at gaming, but they mentioned how a lot of YouTubers kind of get exposed by it, and Jake Paul's one of them. Where there's all these videos that get posted to YouTube, and they're all crisp and clear and high def, and there's cuts and cuts and cuts and cuts and cuts, and it drives me insane. Okay, I and I think this kind of nails down why. If I did 50 different cuts of any one video I did, I could just be all energetic and like, hey guys, it's me, the hockey guy, or it's me, the entertainment guy, whichever channel I'm promoting at the time. And when you're doing a live stream of you playing video games, you can't do that. You're yourself. So if in real life you're kind of just a regular everyday person, it's going to show up there. And apparently with Jake Paul's it did. So I don't know why anybody's surprised. All basically normal people, and this was in the midst of looking at why Emma Blackery's channel has fallen so far. Emma Blackery, I liked her videos a lot, and I found her a couple years ago. I liked her videos for just talking about everyday stuff and just her rambles. And sometimes she was funny, sometimes she was offensive, but sometimes she was funny. Now since her music career got a hit in the top 100, she's decided she's just doing music, and it's alienated a lot of fans. So, and I look into all these stuff that the big channels do, even though I'm a small channel, because my other channel's at almost 37,000 subscribers. I need to pay attention to what's made other YouTubers fall or rise, and say, okay, and for me, what I came out of this with was I have to be genuine to myself. I have no problem playing a video game in front of a camera for hours because uh, kids will always crowd around me playing a video game because it's always entertaining, especially if I'm bad at it. It's more fun if I'm bad at it. It's more fun when I'm like, hey, well, I'm dead. That was great. And there have been times where playing Grand Theft Auto, I've walked into the wrong spot, got shot. Fallout 4. I know my friend that I used to work with, Austin. He thought it was hilarious that I'm walking around in Fallout 4, and I was like, wait, is there something behind me? And then I'm dead. And I was like, all I saw was an arm, and I'm dead. Why am I dead? And then I walked off a bridge, and I died. And I'm like, why does walking off a bridge make me dead? And he thought it was really funny, and it was I guess this death claw, which I really didn't want. I saw a death claw in one of the Fallout 4 videos I did. I just ran away from it. I'm like, I'm not fighting that. I'm just gonna stay. Well, why would I fight that? That's not how life works. Life doesn't work by seeing something that looks like that and fighting with it. But it's interesting that I do all of these as one shot, one go, one take, and when I hear this stuff is going on and it's affecting people, or in Emma's case, she's being kind of seen as being disingenuous. I'm really glad that I've been genuine. The way that YouTube worked for me was a genuine evolution to where I've amped myself up a little bit. But yeah, the what I'm saying is there'll be more Death Truck. So for people who want more Death Truck, you're getting more Death Truck. There's only 400 views on it, but you know what? For this channel, it's pretty good, and it keeps my watch time up, and it brings in other viewers. And honestly, it's kind of fun. This weekend, watch for a nice Death Truck scenario where I'm Death Truck. I'll have Yvonne watching the chat and talking to me, and then we'll go from there. But no hockey questions. We won't do hockey questions for that one. Top 10 favorite bands of all time. Let's get into it. I don't want to have to do timestamps because I took too long. I already took too long. Number 10 for me, and there's always been a debate about these guys, and I'm sure this debate will continue, is Linkin Park. Now, of course, tragically, Chester, the lead singer of Linkin Park, took his own life. If you are a fan of Linkin Park and what they've done, I will recommend the band Ashes to New, because they sound a lot like early Linkin Park. They're a little bit more mainstream, but Ashes to New, and I'll just write them up here because I don't think, yeah, no, I didn't have them in my top 50, but we got their new CD yesterday. And if you like Linkin Park, and if you're gonna miss having Linkin Park CDs, order Ashes to New. They are very similar. Look them up on YouTube. Look them up on Spotify. They're similar, but they're a fun band. We saw them live. They're genuine. They don't lip sync. And Linkin Park is a band that has divided people for a long time. Are they metal? Metal fans will usually say no. I would argue sometimes. Live, absolutely. Their live show is pretty darn metal, even though their fan base skews a little bit young for metal. But and I think there's more girls at a Linkin Park concert than you're gonna have for, say, Slipknot. But again, a lot of metalhead girls at Slipknot concerts too. So maybe it's just the demographics are a little different. I always appreciated Linkin Park. We got their last CD, or no, not their last. We got their second to last CD, the one that kind of bombed. We got that one about a month ago. It's really, really bad, and I hate to say it, but it's pretty bad. When you listen to their early stuff, you listen to Meteora, and you listen to the stuff towards the end. Their last CD, the one that's come out now after Chester tragically has passed, it's actually better than the one before that. I honestly think they were going to go back up the charts, kind of. They're kind of out of fashion, but I cannot recommend them enough. I love Linkin Park. Number 9. This is the band that I had at 12, and I was like, no. And I got Americant is their new album, and I have to say, I love how it's spelled. And there's a song on there called Antifa, which has alienated a lot of people. The funny thing is, there are people saying, well, Ministry's going to be all political. I'm not listening to them anymore. Have you ever listened to Ministry? They've always been political. Holy crap. Al Jorgensen for years. Years, decades. NWO. What's the NWO song about? Yeah, it's anti-Republican, anti-George H. Bush. Not even George W. It's Ministry's new album is going to divide a lot of people. I think it's a really decent album. Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste is amazing too. Um, uh, and the land of beer and money, I think, is the other one I have. I'm trying to think. I know there's other NWO albums, or I don't have the NWO album. I need to get that one. That was on Psalm 69. And yeah, there's a lot of Ministry stuff that I need. The more I hear the band, the more I love them. And I know the first time I heard Breathe, which is a song off of The Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste, and then I looked at the date of the album and I was like, are you serious? This came out while I was in high school and I was listening to Fine Young Cannibals? And I kind of wanted to go back and punch Teenage Shannon in the face. Go listen to Ministry. Pfft, who was that? That looked like me, but bald. And people are like, you're bald already. Number 8, because I got that in high school. I had people pointing out my baldness in high school. So, anyways, number 8, Korn. Yeah, this is gonna be metal. Korn's funny. I don't find their albums to be that strong, and they really made that album with Skrillex. You know, the one they don't want to talk about. As soon as the Skrillex album kind of bombed and didn't do very well, they're like, yeah, so next tour we're just gonna do like really old stuff. I'm like, yeah, you want to make people forget the Skrillex album. You can't take it off the internet. That won't be forgotten. But Coming Undone is such a great song, and Falling Away From Me has got such a solid message, and there's so many of their songs that are really good. I don't enjoy their live concerts. I've got a live concert of theirs on DVD, and it put me to sleep. They don't have an overly energetic show. I'm used to fire and devils and explosions, so I have ADHD when it comes to concerts. But Korn, really, they have some really fantastic songs, and for that reason, I have them at number 8. Number 7, well, this isn't going to surprise people either. I just talked about explosions, devils, fire. Explosions, devil, and fire put Slipknot ahead of Korn. Fire, good. Fire, make me happy. If I go to a concert and there's a lot of fire, I know when I saw Slipknot, before I went into that concert, I was like, all right, well, I've seen Rammstein twice in concert. Nothing will ever be better than that as a concert experience. Yeah, Slipknot was. I do not enjoy Slipknot's music as much as Rammstein's, but as a concert experience, Slipknot was insane. Now, opening for them was Lamb of God. I don't like Lamb of God, and I'm being honest about that. And I know there's Lamb of God fans who are going, "How can you not like Lamb of God?" Their stage presentation was fantastic. They're talented as individual performers. You put it all together, and I just don't enjoy it. Same concert, Bullet for My Valentine, a band that I had liked, and I heard them live, and I thought they sounded like crap. And then there was Motionless in White that opened up the whole thing, and I missed most of their show, and that was okay because Motionless in White is too growly for me. There's metal that I really, really like, and it's this kind of stuff. It's not the growly. It's industrial. It's got an edge to it. But when the singer's all, I'm like, oh, okay, uh, I don't know. He sounds like an evil Fat Albert. I can't get into it. And Fat Albert was evil. We know that now. But Slipknot number 7, Corey Taylor is such an entertaining guy to watch live. But if you're offended by his foul language, don't ever listen to Corey Taylor speak. Number 6, this won't surprise people. I was asked about the new Perfect Circle album. I will say this: Maynard has really grown up. He's really matured. If you haven't heard the new Perfect Circle album yet, and if you're expecting metal or something heavy, you're not going to get it. He's mellowed. He's mellowed a lot. There are a lot of Christian messages on this album. Now, I'm not religious myself, but I'm perfectly fine with that. For what Maynard's been singing about the entire time that he's been singing, a a a turn towards a more religious, uplifting message at this point in time in history, and at this point in time in his career, is fantastic. There's still some anger there. The new album has some anger in it too. The Doomed is like just whole. And then So Long and Thanks for All the Fish is this really fun song too. Great, fun, upbeat, catchy tune you can kind of dance to, and you're like, this is Maynard? And then the singing starts, and you go, yeah, this is Maynard. And the fact that it's called So Long and Thanks for All the Fish, which is a quote from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, that's close to my heart right there. That's kind of awesome, and I'm very happy about it. So yeah, Perfect Circle. This album, it starts slow. The first couple of songs are kind of quiet and slow. There's only one or two songs on the album that sound like old Perfect Circle, and there's one that's got like synthesized voices on it. And the first, when I heard it live, I was like, oh, there are gonna be Perfect Circle fans that don't like this song when it comes out. But honestly, it is a really fun album, and they are one of my favorite bands. Um, they're yeah, and it's Maynard. It's Maynard. Number 5. This one may surprise people only because I don't talk about them a lot. And I don't talk about them a lot because I'm not a huge fan of a couple of members of the band, and their music is not what it was. But holy crap, Metallica has performed so many iconic songs. And it's funny because I remember when the Black Album came out and then Load and Reload, and a lot of people said, oh, they've sold out, they've gone mainstream. I'm sorry, Seek and Destroy is just as mainstream as anything off Load or Reload to me. Seek and Destroy is very, very playable, very listenable. It's an amazing song. And other songs like Fade to Black, yeah, no, that's absolutely something you can sell on the radio if people have an attention span of longer than 10 seconds. I like the Load and Reload albums. I still have them. I still listen to them. I know that's going to make people angry. The only one I didn't like was Saint Anger. Saint Anger was a giant piece of crap. That whole album was garbage. I could not. The first time I heard, like, Much Music Made This Big. Oh, up next, the debut of the new video from Metallica. I'm like, awesome. And then they start playing, and I'm like, wait, no, what is this? Why is this? How is this? This shouldn't be a thing. And then it has these changes in rhythm and beat, and it has these changes in tone, and it kind of There's no discernible tune with Saint Anger, and then there's the off-putting cowbell, and when cowbell's off-putting, somewhere Will Ferrell cries. It's just a really off-putting album. But then they made up for it. Death Magnetic is a fantastic album. So Metallica in my eyes is still one of my favorites. Just don't ever mention Saint Anger. It's ironic because yeah, I have great anger mentioning Saint Anger. Number 4. If you don't like Queen, you're wrong. If you say I've never heard a Queen song I like, you're also wrong. There is at least one Queen song you've heard that you like. You may not have known it was Queen singing it. You may not have known it was a Queen song that somebody was covering, but you've liked a Queen song. Um, Freddie Mercury, it's tragic we lost him when we did. Freddie Mercury might have been he's one of the greatest voices in the history of music. Queen is a band that for me is timeless. I even listen to Kind of Magic and I don't hear it and say, oh, this is 80s, it's dated. And the songs that I found myself singing a lot when I was a teenager were songs like Just One Year of Love, or Who Wants to Live Forever, or Princess of the Universe, or One Vision. Basically the entire album of Kind of Magic. And yet, there's silly songs like Radio Gaga, but Radio Gaga has a really good message too. And there's a lot of truth in that song. So there's a lot of soul in it. And of course, Under Pressure was destroyed by Vanilla Ice. And whenever I hear people say, I like the song Ice Ice Baby, I want to stab them in the face with a pen. No. David Bowie says no. You will not be in the audience of the Goblin King. Queen, really fantastic. Just awesome. Brian May, great guy and a flippin' genius. Go ahead. If you don't know that Brian May, the guitarist from Queen, is a genius, is a member of Mensa, go look him up. Science crap. The science crap this guy talks about. He's got science books. I think they're just called Science Crap. I'm just kidding. He does have books out, though. Brian May, absolutely awesome. The whole band is amazing, but Brian May, awesome. Number 3. Of course, Led Zeppelin. The funny thing with Zeppelin was I discovered them late in life. I was in my late teens when I discovered them. I had resisted listening to Zeppelin for years. Where I had seen parts of some of their live concerts, and I didn't like their live performances a lot. And you know what's funny? I'm still not a huge fan of some of their live performances. I think they got better as they went along. And I think I prefer the Page Plant stuff from about a decade ago over some of the Zeppelin performances. Zeppelin is amazing. And I remember when Coverdale Page was a thing, which was David Coverdale and Jimmy Page, or as Robert Plant called him, David Coverversion. And they were going to tour with, they were going to open for Aerosmith. And Joe Perry wanted to ask Jimmy Page why he wrote all of the best guitar riffs, why he didn't leave any for anybody else. Zeppelin's been accused of, rightfully so, stealing certain tunes of theirs in certain songs. Agreed. I have no problem with that. And I admit that as a Zeppelin fan. But they also have some insanely good songs. And I still very often listen to Zeppelin in the car. And if I'm listening to music that came out before I was born, that's saying something. Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You is one of the most beautiful, amazing songs ever. And that's one of the ones they stole. That was an old blues classic that they borrowed. And I don't think they gave credit at the time. They would now, but I don't think they gave credit at the time. And that's the debate about Zeppelin. Are they really one of the greatest of all time? Or did they steal a lot of their early material? And I would say both. I'm willing to say both. Because they did make most of it their own. Number 2. People were expecting Tool at number 1. And honestly, this is the toughest call in the world. If Yvonne was home today, she'd probably come over to this board and put Tool at number 1. It doesn't matter. And I say it doesn't matter because they're both fantastic. Rammstein it is a visceral experience seeing Rammstein. Seen them twice. My goal is to, before I die, see them in Berlin. I think to really experience Rammstein properly, I need to be in a German crowd to fully appreciate the Rammstein experience. I know I may get wildly punched. I may end up in a situation where I'm squashed. There may not be seats wherever we go to see them, but it won't matter. Just have that experience once. Tool, I've never seen Tool live. Yvonne's seen them live, I think, 3 times. And if Yvonne was here, she'd say, and they were awesome. Uh, and really, honestly, I love them both pretty darn near equally. It's just Rammstein, it's been every single album, almost every single song. There are a few songs on both Rosenrot and then on Liebes für Alle that I was not a huge fan of. Songs I was like, yeah. And even the fact that Liebes für Alle has 2 albums and Furimish is left on the second album, so it's cut out of the one that you get that's not deluxe. That's criminal. Furimish is an amazing song. Oh, if you don't know what the song is, and you're like, how do you spell that? Furimish has the most sinister uh, riff of any song they've produced, including Mein Teil. You can't go wrong with either of these bands. You just can't. You can try, I guess, but you really can't. You really can't go wrong. They're both amazing. They're both fantastic. And any of these bands, I would go and see live, and it's a shame I never saw Linkin Park. But, as I said, Ashes to New, very similar. And I know when we saw Ashes to New live, and they were opening for Five Finger Death Punch, which Yvonne would have in her top 10, and Papa Roach, who Yvonne would also have in her top 10, and 6am, who neither of us would have in our top 100. Ashes to New said, they told us we couldn't do it. Something along the lines of, they told us we couldn't do it. They told us that rap and metal would never work together. And I looked at Yvonne and said, so they've never heard of Linkin Park? Because they sound like Linkin Park. And that was just my opinion at the time, was rap and metal, that's Linkin Park. So I thought it was kind of funny. They said, yeah, they told us this would never work. Well, they never heard music then, because it's been happening for a while. But yeah, there's my top 10. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I know this is going to turn people off, because where's the Beatles? They're not in my favorites. They're just not. You know, Yvonne loves the Beatles. The Beatles would be in her top 10. I've never been a huge fan. There's like 3 or 4 songs of theirs I really like, and outside of that, they're trailblazers. They're probably the most important, but they're not necessarily my favorite, and this list is for my favorite. So let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, if you just happen to pass through. And I've been doing this with my hockey videos today as well. I've got this cat tree here, and as a result of me having this cat tree for the cats, and the idea that they just show up in a video because they fight in the background when I do videos, they're all asleep. Just as proof. There's Bear, there's Shadow, and then underneath my jerseys, there's Pixel. They're all sleeping. Nobody's fighting. Nobody's using the cat tree. A watch pot never boils. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.